Delays on closing. Got any of them? How about closings falling apart at the last minute?
Never happens.
Never happens. We have some really quick tips on how to keep everything together coming right up.
Good morning. My name is Ron Morris. This is Moving Forward TV, your local real estate and mortgage update.
And I am DeLynn Gaston. Thanks for joining us today. On today's show, we wanted to talk about those things that make the closings fall apart or cause delays. Some really quick tips to help everything go a lot smoother and on time.
Okay, the first item we'd like to talk about is the condition of the property itself. And in a nutshell, there's three areas that we want to really pay close attention to. Number one is flooring. We need to make sure it has some.
Yes.
Concrete is not flooring,
right.
not most of the time
So
anyway.
If there's carpet down, especially on FHA, but even on conventional loans, we're starting to look at this as well. Regardless if the carpet is nasty, we understand, leave it there. Do not pull it out.
It's better than pulling it up, then
right.
That creates other issues.
Right.
Second item is chip paint. I think we've all dealt with that from time to time. I know I had one recently. It was an older home, had to be totally repainted before we could close. So chip paint's something to pay attention to. And last but not least is a pool, if a pool applies. And as I think you mentioned to me,
green is bad.
Green is not good.
In this case, green is bad.
And actually that leads me to a very funny conversation I had with a local realtor dealing with her buyer. And she calls me, it's a short sale of course. And of course I think the property's been vacant for quite some time. Anyway, she calls me after the contract was finally accepted and says, Ron, is there a problem if there's tadpoles in the pool? And after I got up from laughing so hard, I said, actually she asked if FHA had a problem with that. And I said, yes, FHA would have a problem with that. So would Fannie Mae, so would Freddie Mac, so would any lender is going to have a problem if there's tadpoles. Then she tells me, there might be a catfish or two in there too. So I think they were making a pond out. I'm not sure what was going on, but yes, that's a problem. It will need to be resolved, clean. Everything put back to normal working condition before we can close. So I wanted to share that with everybody.
Not like swimming with the manatees. Okay, the second item that we wanted to bring up was deposits, bank statements. Keep in mind, and please tell your buyers out there, it's not okay to just move money around. We have to verify everything these days. Paper trail. 2 months bank statements, and they're going to look very closely, underwriting at every single deposit that's on there, and they're going to question every single deposit, regardless of what it may be. We have to source and season every single deposit. So most people have direct deposit these days, and you can clearly see that going in. But in addition to that, if all of a sudden, you know, $800 went in.
Deposit. They need to know what it's about.
And by the way, we're not talking large being like, you know, $5,000. We're talking even $800 or something like that. Anything more than $500 is kind of like a rule of thumb. They're going to question it, so we need to do that. So please tell your buyers, do not move money around without talking to a mortgage person first at all. Grandma's giving the money, whatever it might be, and cash, big no-no.
Cash is bad.
Cash is bad. In this regard, cash is bad. So even if they have like a coffee can of cash at home, which a lot of people do, I have a couple of servers that I just did a loan for, and they kept a lot of their tip money in cash. Big problem. So please tell them, don't move any money around.
And there's a way to get it done. They just need to be able to communicate with us so we can direct them and
help
help them with this.
Right.
And we'll get it done, but we need to know what's going on.
Right.
Another item I'd like to touch base on is very, very important, is the name. I know that sounds like a very simple thing, but sometimes it's not.
The buyer's name.
The buyer's name. And what I'm referring to is it has to be consistent all the way through the process, from the sales contract to the mortgage application to the closing docs. They all have to be consistent. And we, and you as the realtor, need to match it to the driver's license. If there's just a middle initial, don't write out the middle name, and vice versa. Whatever you have on the sales contract must match the driver's license. Keep that in mind. It should make our lives easier.
Right.
And of course, we'll pick up that name on the sales contract and the driver's license and be consistent throughout.
We've had things where it's just right at the last minute, and then it causes a bunch of,
in the closing department, they tend to catch these
title,
things.
Always that closing things get caught. And then title has to be changed, and then CPLs have to be changed,
and
it just
can of worms.
Causes delays. Another point that we wanted to bring out, and I know that we really shouldn't have to say this, but honesty. Honesty on the application is so important. And I tell people all the time, tell me everything. Let me determine what to use and what not to use, because it's so important. The underwriters, their job is to verify everything. So everything that goes on that application, everything that goes into that package is getting verified. So If the buyer is honest with us about everything, they have to tell us so that we can determine what to tell the underwriter, or what not to tell the underwriter, or how to present it, or that kind of a thing. If it's going to be an issue, we can address it up front.
And I just had a realtor call me to complain the other day. They lost a deal 2 days before closing. It wasn't one that we were handling, of course. But what had happened is 2 days before closing, the underwriter discovered that the buyer owned another property.
Right.
And supposedly, per the advice of their accountant, they never counted that rental income on their tax return. Now, I'm suspecting that there probably was not a mortgage on their credit report, or it would have come up early.
Right.
But I know what underwriters are doing these days, or part of the whole process, is they do a property search on that buyer. If, and it's public record. So
right.
if it pops up that they own a property, regardless if it's on the application, there's a question.
Right.
And I think that's probably what happened there. And by the time they added that mortgage payment and taxes and insurance, all that, into their debt ratio, it blew it up. They didn't
right.
qualify. Deal went south 2 days before closing.
Needless to say, these things are happening. These kind of delays, and these cause delays. Maybe there's a way that we can work around something like that, or that loan officer would be able to work around it, not sure. But the bottom line is that we need a little more time. With underwriters verifying everything, things happen. Something gets missed, something gets changed, whether it's, you know, something in the name verification, something in the appraisal or the property comes up that has to be addressed, something somewhere along the line. Things happen that cause delays. Give us a little more time on the contracts. It's not as easy as it used to be. If you've got a great loan officer like we are, we can get it done for you. Just give us some time. Most of the loans that we're doing, anywhere between 30 to 45 days. Give us 45 days on a contract.
And we'll close early.
We'll close early, I promise you.
Give us 30, we might need a couple more days.
That's our show this week. Hopefully you got something out of that to make closings go a little bit faster and a little bit smoother.
And if there's anything we can do, you have any questions out there for us, by all means reach out to us.
Right.
We have all that social media that I'm like this with. You actually can pick up the phone and call us. You can, of course, email us. Reach out to us with any questions or anything. We'd love to hear from you.
And we really are extremely good at what we do, so we can certainly help you through. Even if you're working with somebody else and you have some questions, we have no problem answering questions for you. This over here is our team, our partner page. Please click on them as well. Take a look at everybody over there. They help us get all of our loans done each and every day, smoothly and efficiently. We are Today and Every Day.
Moving forward, we will see you next week.
Thanks. Bye-bye.